Right now in my company, we close at 36% on cold traffic. Cold traffic. People that don't know us at all. So pretty darn good. And actually, when I started out, I was, completely introverted, very shy, hated people, hated sales, no clue what I was doing, no skill set at all. And I was able to go from that to 36% close rate at cold traffic, which is pretty darn good. I know the industry, that's like pretty darn good. A lot of people get 10, 20% close rate on cold traffic. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump into 7 things, 7 lessons that have helped me increase close rate and just become a whole hell of a lot better salesman. This is especially gonna apply to you if you have a high ticket offer in the online business space. This will definitely help you out. So let's go ahead, let's dive in. I have a list here. So first one, this one's huge. Non-neediness. Non-neediness. All right, have you ever heard of the term commission breath? It's where, you can basically tell that a salesman he's just trying to, close a deal. He just wants a commission really, really bad. Like he needs it. And neediness always repels people. It does. It's just like natural human behavior. All right. If you ever with a woman or with a guy who's really needy in a relationship, it tends to repel the other person, right? Same thing with sales. All right, so if you're not needy, if you don't really need the deal, then you're more likely to close the deal. It's more attractive. All right, people that don't need you are more attractive. All right, think of how that works. This is another way to phrase this is indifference to the outcome. Indifference to the outcome. You're actually trying to serve the person is a really good frame. All right, because that's what you actually should be doing in sales. You should be actually just be like trying to serve them and help them make whatever decision actually is best for them. All right, so this means if the number one thing I'm trying to figure out on a sales call is if I can actually help them. Once I understand that, then it becomes, okay, let's help them make the best decision for them, which is going to be actually, joining the program, actually signing up and paying me money, because it is truly the best decision for them. If it's not though, if I can't help them, if they're not a good fit, I will tell them. Like, hey man, honestly, I'm not the best person to help you out. So let me see if I can refer you to someone else or give you a free training, whatever makes the most sense from there. And that's what you should be doing. All right, that's non-neediness. That's indifference to the outcome. Now, this is really hard to adopt if you are in a tough financial state. Like if you actually need sales, it is hard to adopt, I will tell you that. But trying to adopt this, especially this can become a lot easier over time as you're making more consistent money and finances aren't a problem. This should come along pretty easily. But this will always help you perform better. So try to adopt this mindset, indifference to the outcome. Just see, how can I serve them? How can I help them make the best decision for them? That's the first thing. Number 2 is a killer offer. A killer offer. So if you have a really good offer, it's just going to be way easier to close sales. Like every time I state my offer and my risk reversal, how it works, almost every time, like 90% of the time, people are like, holy crap, like you must be confident. Because just the way that we frame our offer, it's so good, it's so compelling. Like people literally would feel stupid to say no, to not consider it even, because it's so good. It's so compelling. And to do this, you just need to be ballsy. All right, you need to be ballsy with your offer. You should have actual consequences if it doesn't work for your client. There should be actual consequences on the line for you. That's how you want to structure it, so your incentives are aligned. All right, it should be a no-brainer and just communicate confidence of, holy crap, this guy must be good because he's so confident. That's what you want. And this leads us into the next one, which is number 3 is conviction. Conviction. So the quickest and the easiest persuasion hack that there is out there is conviction. All right, there was an experiment done where basically there was, this guy who was crossing a crosswalk in a busy street. And there's basically two experiments or 2 tests they ran. In the first one, they basically had a guy who was very uncertain, kind of bobbing his head, looking, each way 10 times, very uncertain, kind of stumbling in his walking, and he jogged across the street, the crosswalk, very uncertain. And there's a group of pedestrians, no one followed this guy. No one followed the uncertain man. But they did another test where the dude was super certain, just kind of looked once, and then he swiftly walked across, no big deal, super convicted in his movement, and all these groups of pedestrians followed him. All right, people follow certainty. All right, the certain man is trusted. If you're not certain, you're not trusted. It doesn't make sense. This is just a heuristic that we have as part of our brain. We trust someone who's certain, who's convicted. All right. If let's say you're going to the movies, all right? You're trying to pick out a movie with your friends or something. And one of your friends is like, oh my gosh, like we have to go to this movie. Like it is literally the best movie I've ever seen in my life. Like you have to see it. Like they're super convicted. That's compelling. That's convincing. You're like, oh, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, sounds good to me. Let's try it out. You said it's amazing. Like, let's do it. But if another friend, they're trying to like sell you on a movie, they're like, ah, yeah, I saw it. It was pretty good. Like I think like you might like it. Like probably. Like that's not convincing. That's not compelling. I'm probably like, like let me watch the trailer first. Like let me see if I should actually go to this thing. You know? So conviction. That's number 3. Number 4 here. This is a big one. I was talking to one of my clients on this, and I was listening to one of his sales calls. And one thing I noticed was towards the end, like towards after the pitch, an objection came up, and objections are normal, by the way. It's fine to have objections. Obviously, you want to steer it so you have an objectionless close, and that's something we work on. But when they come up, you want to make sure that your tonality, your like kind of vibe that you're giving off is not combative, but it's collaborative. All right, so combative is super common among people that are selling. So when someone says, oh, I need to think about it, or it's too expensive, or blah, blah, whatever the excuse they come up with, a lot of salespeople will get combative. They'll be like, oh, no, I mean, you could definitely afford this, or, oh, well, what do you have to think about? It's just like their tonality is very aggressive and very combative coming off. And whenever you do that, like that's going to shut people down. People are not going to want to talk to you if you do that because it's combative. Like it's not very, nice way to talk to people. Like you're kind of like challenging them very hard. Now there's a time and a place where you can ask direct questions in sales, but you want to be more collaborative. This tends to be the better approach who gets way higher likelihood of positive responses. So like the thing I think about in my head is I visualize basically, me and the prospect sitting on the same side of the table. All right, so I have a table right here. We'd be on the same side of the table is how I'm visualizing it. So we're being collaborative. We're trying to come up with a solution. So if someone, let's say let's say it's a money thing. I would be like, literally, what do I do? I literally think, I like look up to the right. I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay. Well, let's see if maybe there's something we could figure out here. I'm just kind of like literally like trying to think and brainstorm with them a solution. That's what you want to do when you're collaborative. It gets their guard down because you actually seem like you're someone who's trying to help them, which you should be. You should be collaborating with them. Like once you know it's a fit, both of you guys agree it's a fit, but it's just like a money thing first and there's some obstacle in the way. You should be collaborative and just trying to figure out a solution to their obstacle so they can get started. Like that's the approach. That's what you want to do. So that's collaboration versus combativeness. Next one here, number 5, is proof of results. This is a quick one. It's pretty simple. But what you want to do, this is especially important pre-call. I like to do this. I sent like some people a pre-call priming video, and it basically primes them with a bunch of client results, case studies, proof, etc., just spamming them with proof. And so they know I'm an authority to get results. So they come on the call in a good frame knowing, okay, this offer, this guy, this company has good results for whatever their offer is. That's what you want. All right, so that's an easy one. Number 6, this is a big one. This is a big one. If you don't have this, you're really going to struggle to close any deals. And this is the expert frame. All right, the expert frame. What is this? So when you're on a sales call, you must be seen as the expert, at least in whatever area that you are selling. If you're not, why would someone buy from you if you're not framed as the expert? So it's like if a lot of people, if they kind of like, they push you around and stuff on the sales call, like, oh yeah, just tell me how much it costs. Or like, I have questions about how it works. Like the first thing they say on the sales call. You have to take the frame back. You must take control in the frame back of the call. Because if you don't, like no one's gonna see you as the expert, and people only buy from experts. People they actually think can solve their problem. And so things you want to do here is, if someone's doing something blatantly wrong, or they have just an incorrect thinking pattern, incorrect belief around getting results that will stop them from moving forward, you want to basically call them out on that. You're doing this in a nice way, of course. You don't have to be a dickhead about it. You can do this in a nice way. I might hear something that's completely incorrect belief or thinking pattern. And I might be like, oh, okay, well, is it cool if I just give you my honest feedback on that? I'll ask permission. They'll say yes. Whenever you ask permission, they give you permission to basically be honest with them. They're way more responsive or conducive to whatever you're saying. All right, so that's where you can kind of call them out. Like, I heard you said this, but honestly, in my experience, in my 5 years doing this with over 150 other companies, what we found is actually XYZ thing to be correct based on this. Does that make more sense for your situation? And you basically just ask them another question to build a new belief. You present proof, ask a question, build a new positive belief, a new, empowering belief. All right, that's like how you want to overcome and kill these limiting beliefs. All right, especially things that are going to stop the sale from happening. If they believe in things, or if they have any things they say, they're just going to stop it from happening. You got to call them out. You got to do that process to basically say, hey, I'm the expert. This is completely wrong what you're saying. This is right. You need to do that. All right, you need to, because you are the expert. All right, very important. Last thing here, number 7, is another thing that came up with one of my clients. So a lot of people, they think of like sales and like when you're selling something, like you have to be selling it. Like you have to be talking, you gotta be pitching, you gotta be going hard. And the truth of the matter is you should not be talking that much at all. Like you should be listening way more than you're talking. All right, so selling is less about selling, like you pitching them. It's more about asking questions and having them come to a conclusion themselves based on the questions that you ask. All right, that is the game. And so I was listening to one of my clients at sales calls again, and I noticed again, towards the end, towards the pitch and, answering questions, overcoming objections, he was selling very hard. When in reality, you don't want to sell, you don't need to sell too hard. You just need to ask questions. All right, you just need to ask questions to clarify what they want, what their desires are, what the pain points are, what they need, what they're looking for. And then when you have all that ammo, you can just present a very succinct answer that will basically fulfill all those things for what they're looking for. That is what you want. So instead of selling, it's more about asking questions. All right, those are the 7. If you do these 7 things, you will definitely, absolutely increase your close rate and make more sales overall. These are huge fundamental lessons when it comes to sales. So I hope this video helped. If you are an online coach, you want to scale your coaching business, all right, especially if your problem is leads or sales, I can definitely help out. So if you want to scale, go ahead and click the link below. We've been offered to work together one-on-one, just you and me, to scale your business. Click that link if you are interested. If not, thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.